Hello friends, are you struggling to create the changes you truly want in your life? You dream of achieving something big and transforming your life, but something always seems to hold you back. You try watching motivational videos and make promises to yourself that this time I'll definitely change, but within days, everything returns to how it was before. Have you ever wondered why this happens? In reality, about 55% of our lives are shaped by our habits. We keep repeating what we do every day, and these habits are so small that we don't even realize whether they were pushing us forward or holding us back. In his book, The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg explains that if we understand our habits and learn to change them correctly, we can completely transform our lives. Think about it. If you develop the habit of waking up early, saving a little money each day, or replacing procrastination with consistent work toward your goals, how dramatically could your life change? But the question is, how do we break free from bad habits and make good habits a permanent part of our lives? Keep watching this video until the end to find out, because we're going to explain this powerful book's complete summary in simple, easy-to-understand language that you can immediately apply to your life. Are you ready to transform your bad habits into good ones? If yes, watch this video completely because it could change your life. Chapter 1. The Habit Loop. Have you ever wondered why certain things happen repeatedly in your life? Why do we check our phones as soon as we wake up? Why do we automatically make coffee or tea without thinking? And why do some habits become so strong that changing them seems impossible? One morning, a man named Mark was on his way to the office. Like every day, he took the same route, stopped at the same coffee shop, ordered the same coffee, and then continued to his office. This routine was so normal for him that he never paid attention to it. But one day, when he reached into his pocket to pay for coffee, he realized he had left his wallet at home. He suddenly stopped, surprised. Did he really want coffee, or was it just a habit? This is the power of habits. They control our lives without us realizing it. Charles Duhigg explains in his book The Power of Habit that every habit operates in a cycle, a cue, a routine, and a reward. This is called the habit loop. Whenever a cue triggers us, we unconsciously follow a specific routine, and finally, we receive a reward that compels our brain to maintain this habit. In Mark's case, the smell of the coffee shop and his daily routine were the cue. Stopping to buy coffee was his routine. And the satisfaction and refreshment he felt when taking that first sip was his reward. In our brain, a part called the basal ganglia controls these habits. When a task is performed repeatedly, our brain puts it into automatic mode so we don't have to think much about it. This provides convenience but can also be harmful in some cases. One day, Mark decided to experiment. The next morning, when he left for the office, he decided that he would pass by the coffee shop, but not go inside. When he reached there, the smell of coffee tempted him, but he resisted. Initially, it felt strange, as if something was incomplete. But gradually, after a few days, he no longer felt the need for this habit. This shows that habits can be changed, but to do so, we need to understand their loop. When we want to break a habit, we need to change the routine, not the cue or reward. Mark did exactly that. He recognized the cue of his habit but changed the routine. Now think about which habits in your life are stuck in this loop. Do you snack even when you're not hungry? Do you waste hours scrolling on your phone? Or do you shop unnecessarily? All these are part of the habit loop. But the good news is that by understanding this loop, you can control it. The next time you try to change a habit, ask yourself, what is the cue for this habit? What is its routine? And what reward am I seeking? If you identify this loop, changing any habit will become easier for you. Chapter 2. The Power of Willpower. Have you ever wondered why some people stick to their goals even in difficult circumstances, while others give up halfway? Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses. Chapter 2. The Power of Willpower. Why can one person wake up early and exercise while another repeatedly hits the snooze button? The answer is willpower. Sarah, a brilliant student at Stanford University, always topped her class. But she had one problem. She couldn't stick with anything long-term. Whenever she set a new goal, she'd be enthusiastic for a few days, but gradually her motivation would fade. She tried many times to wake up early, eat healthy, and reduce her social media use, but each time she would return to her old habits within days. One day, her professor told her, "Willpower isn't an innate talent but rather like a muscle. If you train it daily, it becomes stronger. If you neglect it, it weakens." Sarah didn't understand how to strengthen her willpower, so her professor suggested a small experiment. Control just one small thing every day. Don't try to change a major habit. Just choose something simple and stick to it no matter what. Sarah decided she would make her bed properly every day. It was a very small task, but she followed it with complete honesty. The first day felt boring, but gradually her brain began to treat it as an essential task. After a few weeks, she noticed she had better control over other aspects of her life too. She could focus better on her studies, resist junk food, and even reduced her social media addiction. Charles Duhigg explains in The Power of Habit that willpower is a keystone habit that affects our other habits as well. If you strengthen your willpower through one small task, it can transform your entire life. A famous experiment conducted at Stanford University called the marshmallow test demonstrates this. Children were seated in a room with a marshmallow placed in front of them. They were given two options: eat the marshmallow immediately or wait 15 minutes and receive 2 marshmallows. Some children ate the marshmallow right away, while others tried to resist. Those who could wait the full 15 minutes went on to be more successful later in life. This experiment proved that willpower is the force that determines the difference between success and failure. In our brain, there's an area called the prefrontal cortex that controls our willpower. Whenever we procrastinate or indulge ourselves, this area weakens. But when we maintain discipline, this area grows stronger. If you want to strengthen your willpower, you need to achieve small wins. Every time you resist something, like getting up to exercise in the morning, avoiding sweets, or stopping yourself from checking your phone unnecessarily, your willpower muscle gets stronger. Think about it. Can you train your willpower like a muscle? Can you improve one small habit in your life that might improve your other habits too? If yes, choose an easy task today and commit to it wholeheartedly, because willpower is the magical force that can transform your life. Chapter 3. Deliberate habits. Have you ever noticed how organized some people's lives are? They were always on time, achieve their goals, and appear stress-free. It seems like their life is running according to a plan, but this doesn't happen by magic. There's a deeper reason: deliberate habits. Mike worked at a multinational company. His job was good, but everything in his life was disorganized. As soon as he woke up, he'd start scrolling on his phone, skip breakfast, arrive late to the office, and spend the entire day stressed. He felt busy, but at the end of the day, he'd realize he hadn't accomplished anything significant. This cycle continued for months until one day, his team leader called him in and said, "Mike, you're hardworking, but your habits aren't letting you move forward. You need to learn how to plan your day." At first, Mike didn't understand what this meant, but when he paid attention, he realized he was doing his work all day without any structure. He remained entangled in everything without separating important from unimportant tasks. This was why he always felt tired, but his productivity was decreasing rather than increasing. After that day, he made a decision. He wanted to transform his entire day into deliberate, planned habits. He first decided to improve his morning habits. Now, as soon as he woke up, he would exercise, then meditate for a few minutes, and plan his day. He decided that every night before sleeping, he would write down the 3 most important tasks for the next day, so that as soon as he woke up, he would know what to do. Gradually, his life began to change. He was now more focused, his stress had decreased, and he became happier. His productivity increased so much that within a few months, he received a promotion. All this happened because he had made his habits deliberate. Charles Duhigg explains in The Power of Habit that disorganized habits bring chaos into our lives, while deliberate habits lead us toward success. When we plan our day in advance, we can work more smartly, and we develop clarity. If you also want to bring change to your life, you will need to make your habits deliberate. You'll need to decide which tasks are most important and which are just wasting time. Do you waste time on social media in the morning without any purpose? Do you get tangled in multitasking all day but can't produce any concrete results? If yes, then it's time to plan your habits. The biggest advantage of deliberate habits is that they save our energy and time. When you set your day in advance, you don't need to constantly think about what to do next. Your habits automatically lead you in the right direction. Like Mike, you too can take a small step. Starting today, decide that you will plan your next day every night. Make a list of your most important tasks and prioritize them. Structure your morning habits so that they give you energy and motivation throughout the day. When you make your habits deliberate, your entire life will change, becoming more balanced, more successful, and happier. Chapter 4. Keystone Habits. Have you ever wondered how some people bring such big changes into their lives? Someone suddenly becomes healthy, someone becomes wealthy, and someone starts reaching new heights in their career. It seems like their entire life has transformed. But if you look closely, you'll find that at the root of all these changes is one common thing: keystone habits. One day, Jason, a young man troubled by his obesity, joins a gym. For the first few weeks, it's very difficult for him. Waking up early, working out, controlling his diet, it was all completely different from his old habits. But he promised himself that no matter what happens, he would exercise for just 30 minutes every day. Slowly, he began to feel a strange change. Not only did his body start getting fit, but his entire lifestyle began to change. Now he started eating healthy food, going to bed early, waking up early, and even his work performance improved. He began to feel more focus and energy in his work. The most interesting thing was that he changed only one habit in his life: daily exercise, but this one habit affected everything else. This is the power of keystone habits. Charles Duhigg explains in The Power of Habit that keystone habits work like a domino effect. When you adopt one right habit, it gives birth to other good habits. It's just like setting the flow of a river. Whatever comes in its path will flow in the same direction. A study found that people who exercise regularly are not only healthier, but their finances, relationships, and mental health also improve. They become less wasteful, more disciplined, and better able to handle stress. Jason's story doesn't end there. A few months later, not only had his physical fitness improved, but he also felt a tremendous increase in his confidence. Now he began to speak openly with people, look for new opportunities, and reach new heights in his career. Think about which habit in your life, if changed, would begin to change everything else. Could it be waking up early? Could it be eating healthy? Could it be reading a book every day? When you identify your keystone habit and start working on it, your entire life gradually begins to change. Have the courage to adopt it once, and then see how it gives your life a new direction. Chapter 5. Habits of Successful Companies. Have you ever thought about why some companies consistently achieve success while others continue to struggle? How do some brands become such that people consider them a part of their lives? This is not just about products or services. There's a deeper reason behind it: their habits. Gradually, customers began to experience something new, and they started returning on their own. Within just a few years, Albertsons became one of America's most successful retail chains. Charles Duhigg explains in his book, The Power of Habit, that behind every successful company are certain habits that become part of their entire system. These habits don't just change employee behavior, but transform the entire company culture. In the 1980s, Aluminum Company of America, Alcoa, was consistently losing money. When new CEO Paul O'Neill took command of the company, everyone expected him to introduce a new strategy to increase profits. But he did something different. He focused on the company's safety habits. He decided that employee safety would be the first priority. He established a rule that any employee must immediately report any injury, and the entire company would work together to solve that problem. Initially, investors found this approach strange. They thought the company's focus should be on profit, not safety regulations. But within a few years, in an unexpected way, the company's productivity increased. Employees became more involved, and their way of working improved. As a result, within just a few years, Alcoa became one of the world's most successful aluminum companies. These two examples teach us that great successes come when companies redirect their habits in the right direction. When a company focuses on improving employee habits, its entire work culture begins to change. If you are running a business yourself or planning to start a company in the future, first pay attention to your company's habits. Is your team working on time? Is customer service being prioritized? Does everyone understand the company's vision? When you find answers to these questions and develop the right habits, your company can become like those successful brands that people not only like, but also trust. Chapter 4. Why we can change our habits. Have you ever wondered how some people make major changes in their lives while others fail repeatedly? Why is it that someone succeeds in quitting alcohol or cigarettes while another remains trapped in the web of bad habits? Can our habits really be changed, or are we doomed to remain slaves to them? One morning, Neeraj was flipping through the pages of his old diary. He remembered that 5 years ago, he had made a promise to himself. He would wake up early every morning, exercise, and improve his health. But the reality was that 5 years had passed, and he still stayed up late, ate unhealthy food, and woke up late. He had tried many times to change his habits, but each time, after a few weeks, he would return to his old lifestyle. He began to feel that he could never change. But one day, when he met a friend, his thinking completely changed. His friend told him, "Neeraj, you keep trying to change your habits, but the real problem is that you not accepting that you can change. Change doesn't come from outside, it comes from within." Charles Duhigg explains in his book, The Power of Habit, that habits get set in our minds like a pattern. When we do something repeatedly, it gets stored in our brain's basal ganglia. Therefore, when we try to change a habit, our brain begins to resist. This is the same feeling when someone tries to quit smoking, but starts craving it again after a few days. But the good news is that our habits can be changed. And the biggest reason for this is our belief. Until we believe in ourselves that we can change, we won't. Until then, no change will be permanent. Neeraj thought deeply about this for the first time. He understood that as long as he considered himself a late riser, he would never be able to develop the habit of waking up early. He needed to shift his identity, to see himself as a new person who wakes up early, exercises, and prioritizes his health. After a few days, he adopted a new approach. He didn't just focus on waking up early, but changed his entire mindset. He told himself, "I am a healthy and disciplined person. I take care of my body. I wake up early because that's who I am." Gradually, his thinking began to change. Now it wasn't just a habit. It had become his identity. And when a few weeks passed, he realized he had truly changed. The greatest proof of this is that many people around the world have changed even their most difficult habits. People who have quit addictions, self-made millionaires who earn millions, world-class athletes, all of these individuals were once slaves to their old habits, but they began to see themselves as new people, and that's the real key to change. If you too want to change any habit, the first step is to start seeing yourself as a new person. Don't say, "I'm trying to quit smoking," but say, "I am not a smoker." Don't say, "I'm trying to work out," but say, "I am a fit and healthy person." When you change how you think about yourself, your habits begin to change automatically. Remember, our habits don't control us, we can control our habits. And when we fully believe this, that's when real change comes. Now you understand how powerful habits are in our lives. Our small habits can either take us to the heights of success, or keep us stuck where we've been standing for years. But the good news is that we can change any habit if we understand it correctly and take action. The book The Power of Habit teaches us that every habit has a loop, and if we identify our cues and rewards and change the routine, we can use our habits to our advantage. But remember, just understanding won't do anything. Real change will come when you apply it in your life. Don't think everything will change in one day. Consistency is the real magic. If you make small changes every day, in just a few months, you'll see a completely new and better version of yourself. The time has come to ask yourself a question. Will you control your habits, or will you let them control your life? If you truly want to make your future better, start a new good habit today. One small victory will lead you toward greater success. If you like this video and learned something new from it, please like it, and tell us in the comments what your biggest bad habit is that you want to change. And if you want to see more powerful and life-changing book series like this, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you all continue to receive notifications for every new video. Remember, one small habit can change your entire life. See you in the next video. Until then, keep growing, keep learning. Thank you.